Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast, 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald. Joining me is 49ers team reporter, Lindsay Pilares. We're 2 weeks into OTAs now, and we've got some updates for you since our last episode, including coaching staff hires and title changes, this year's preseason details ironed out, and the biggest takeaways from the 49ers State of the Franchise event that took place at Levi Stadium yesterday. But Lindsay, let's start with the coaching staff. Who are the 49ers welcoming in this year, and what are some of the biggest changes to that leadership group?
Yes, so let's start with title changes. Nick Sorensen has now been officially named the defensive coordinator. I know that that's something we've already known and talked about, but this is when everything goes official on the web, is what I'll say. We have Clay Kubiak also. He is now the offensive passing game specialist. New hires include Cameron Clemens. He is the assistant offensive line coach. Mick Lombardi, he is a senior offensive assistant. And Brandon Staley, he is an assistant head coach / defensive coach. And then we also have KJ Wright, who is defensive quality control. So congratulations and welcome in order for that group of coaches. And it's just an exciting new additions. They've already been working in the building, but now made known to the public. So yeah, exciting times.
Yeah, we got to hear from San Francisco's newest defensive coordinator, Nick Sorensen, at yesterday's State of the Franchise event. He came on stage after head coach Kyle Shanahan, general manager John Lynch, and 49ers CEO Jed York. What did you learn about why the organization trusted in Nick Sorensen to take over this position?
Yeah, we heard it from leadership, from ownership, and also the players because State of the Franchise includes a mix of all three of those groups. And I think one of the things I kept hearing is that Nick Sorensen has spent the last 2 seasons here in the building. He knows the 49ers defense inside and out. And the 49ers have prided themselves on this defensive philosophy that everything starts up front and works its way back. He's very in tune with that defensive philosophy. He also has extensive work in terms of the secondary and can bring those two portions of the defense together and really have a unified front in 2024. And then also he has been considered the ball father for the past, I think the last year, it might be 2 years, but he is someone that has been a regular face, a vocal person in the 49ers defensive room amongst all the groups. So he's a very familiar face in that sense. He brings great energy. We heard from Nick Bosa that, yeah, he's someone that reminds him a little bit of D'Amico Ryans and just brings together that former player mentality to it. Nick Sorensen is a former player. So he's got a little bit of all the good qualities that the 49ers were looking for in their new DC. He ties that all together, and the fact that he's spent time with the organization already is a huge plus. So we heard little echoes of that from each of the three groups that spoke at the State of the Franchise.
Yeah, it was great to hear from him yesterday. And one of the biggest highlights from this year's offseason has been Brock Purdy's development at quarterback and having a fully healthy offseason. It was a topic for Kyle Shanahan at the State of the Franchise. And quarterbacks coach Brian Greasy got into the details of it during last week's OTA practices. So, what exactly are the improvements that have been made both on the field and mentally for Brock as he enters his third season?
Yeah, and I first want to start with just putting everything into perspective because I think we're just so used to Brock performing on the field and getting the job done. But this time last year, he was still rehabbing from a major elbow surgery. Like he had that March 10th of last year. A year later, completely healthy, led his team to Super Bowl 58. So just so many amazing accomplishments in year 2 for Brock Purdy. He overcame a huge obstacle in that season-ending elbow injury, the surgery, the rehab, getting back, not missing any time. So I think it's important to always keep that in perspective because it's just, wow, it's almost unbelievable, the success that he's seen. But it is believable because we heard Kyle Shanahan, Brian Greasy, so many people just speak about his work ethic, the time that he's put in. And like you mentioned, Brian Greasy, the 49ers quarterbacks coach, really went into the thick of it. He said that the biggest development he's actually seen in Brock Purdy is the mental aspect to the game and how to handle the celebrity that's come to him, the eyes that have now are focused on him as the leader of this franchise, the face of this franchise, how to deal with adversity in season. And obviously, Kyle Shanahan also spoke to this. It's great to just have him physically ready to go for the offseason workout program because that's something that wasn't available to him last year. So to be able to actually watch the cut ups from last year, go over what improvements need to be made, and then be able to put that to work on the field and then also lead your team in all the drills that are allowed during the offseason workout program through each of the phases has been really, really huge. But yeah, biggest development is actually the mental aspect of the game for Brock Purdy. That bounce back that he's got, being able to handle the pressure of, being the face of an organization and, sometimes things don't always go your way. And then handling the pressure of leading a team to a Super Bowl. That's been a really, really big development for him and, more to come in year 3 for him.
Yeah, Brock was one of the players who made an appearance at yesterday's event, and he simply said, "I've gotten better." So I'm excited to see how that comes into fruition into this next season. But another thing that stood out to me from the state of the franchise was the insight we got into the 49ers special teams unit, thanks to Brian Schneider. He said that although it's very new to the NFL, that fans are going to love the new kickoff rule that's going into effect this season. Lindsay, do you want to share why?
Yeah, I think it's just one of the largest rule changes to American football, in recent history. And one thing that Brian Schneider did say is that, this is kind of the year for special teams coordinators around the league. It's going to take some getting used to really get accustomed to this new kickoff and return rules. But, the 49ers have been hard at work making sure that they can perfect it, position themselves well as we head into training camp, the preseason, the regular season. He's really excited about it. And then he also really did touch upon Jake Moody, rookie kicker in 2023, heading into his second year, and just the leaps and bounds that he's made. And the excitement really that is to come for 2024 because it's no small thing to go to the Super Bowl and kick multiple 50-plus yard field goals in your rookie year.
There were a few other members of the organization that took the stage yesterday, including defensive lineman Nick Bosa and the People's tight end George Kittle. The full recording of yesterday's State of the Franchise event will be posted to the 49ers channels very soon, so keep your eye out on the 49ers YouTube page and on 49ers.com. So finally, as we ramp up to the start of the 2024 season, we've got the 49ers preseason dates and times now set. Lindsay, would you like to share when the Niners are taking the field for the preseason?
Yeah, the last piece of the puzzle is finally public knowledge. August 10th, it'll be a road game versus the Tennessee Titans, 6 p.m. local time, 4 p.m. Pacific. August 18th will be the only 49ers home preseason game. That'll be versus the New Orleans Saints. That'll be 5 o'clock Pacific time. And August 23rd, the Niners will play in Vegas against the Raiders, 7 o'clock Pacific time. And then we've got the full schedule now. So everybody make sure to plan their flights, their trips to Levi Stadium. It just feels like we're ramping up to the regular season and the preseason. And I'm so excited.
Definitely. But faithful, that will do it for today. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts to be in the know on all of the latest official 49ers news. Also, turn on the notifications for any breaking news, move the chains updates. And thank you for tuning in.